do y'all think that black women like, love, and respect black men?
There's a disconnect right off the bat based on what is respect.
Black women do not respect black men.
There's a certain level of respect where it's like, I respect you as a human being, but do I respect you as my man?
I think black women tolerate black men.
I can understand a certain portion of black women may just tolerate black men because those women may have settled for that black man that they're with.
Which one do you think is a majority? The respecters or the disrespecters?
And honestly, I don't think black women like black men like that, for real, for real. Do black women love black men, like black men, respect black men, for real, for real? We've heard the conversations, and maybe because of the single mother conversation, maybe there's friction there, right? So yes, I love you, but I ain't really feeling you right now. But generally speaking, do y'all think that black women like, love, and respect black men based off of the conversations that we've been having? Not us specifically, but just in the culture and how it's showing up. We'll start with the black women. Who's going to say for all black women here?
I'm going to go ahead and say that I think there's some confusion in regards to the word respect. Right. And so I think that right now in this generation, black women and women in general don't understand what respect may look like for the black man or what respect may look like for men in general, because our definition or interpretation of respect is completely different from what their interpretation of respect is. And that shows up differently, too. So if this man states that XYZ equals respect for him, and in general, this XYZ equals respect, the woman may say, hey, I feel respect is ABC. And so there's a disconnect right off the bat based on what is respect. But if I had to answer the question, first of all, black women will always love black men. Like, come on. Like, even the divestors, they low-key love y'all, even though they divesting. And they're only divesting because they felt like they didn't feel the love from y'all. So black women will always love black men. Now, respect black men now, that's another story. And so once we define what respect is, then we can determine if black women respect black men. I would like to say yes, but then I know that
you'd be wrong.
Not according to social media. You know what I'm saying? Not according to social media. Social media got us disrespecting y'all left and right. And so the echo chambers got y'all being disrespected. And so I can't say in social media world, the answer would be no. But in life, I think it's yes. You know, your mama respects you, your wife respects you, your daughters respect you. So black women respect you.
Okay, so I think, so you make a good point that the respect issue is a little cloudy. Maybe the words are a little nebulous or whatever. But if we just look at respect means to look, means to do over. So respect is to take a second look, to give them extra regard, extra concern, right? And no, black women do not respect black men. Now, you said black women love black men. I have a problem with that because you can't love what you don't understand. And clearly, black women do not understand black men. So I think black women tolerate black men because we are part of a matching set. Because in order for them to have the candle, the wax figures on top of the cake that they envisioned when they were 3 years old or 5 and playing with their homegirls, they need to get this accessory, which is this black male. It's like he's got to come 6 feet tall with 6 figures and the other 6. I forgot what it was. Because he's not a person. He's a thing. He's an object. So I think they tolerate us because we are necessary to fulfill this black love idea or whatever. We're necessary for their friends to feel like they have made it and accomplished so they can get that validation or whatever. But when it comes to really loving a black man, to really understanding what makes him work, what makes him tick, like how to feed his soul, no, that's not happening.
So I disagree because I'm going to tell you why I disagree.
Okay.
So I can understand a certain portion of black women may just tolerate black men because those women may have settled for that black man that they're with. But for those who didn't have to settle, then why would it not be love and respect?
Will you take a majority versus minority position? Which one do you think is a majority? The respecters or the disrespecters?
That's a good point. And I got to interject here because I think Jay makes a solid point because I think for some of us, as a black man, I'm obviously in a relationship with someone that I feel like loves and respects and likes me, right? And I think for most of us in these relationships, we like to think that. But Jay brings up an excellent point because that may not be the case in general, right? The real question here is that the case in general? Can we say 51% of, let's say, this group does this thing, right? And if we're talking about in general, it is a question that deserves to be asked, to be honest, right? Because when we were talking earlier or in a previous episode, we talked about simp music and how guys would show up a certain type of way with the expectation they would get that kind of reciprocity from the woman that they're dating, right? Nowadays, that may not be the case, right? Sometimes it's deemed as thirsty or you're doing too much, right? So for a lot of people, that actually becomes a challenge for them in terms of how they are able to kind of like come together, essentially. You know what I mean? So, and then when you add that onto the single mother situation, for example, right, where you have these responsibilities and it's hard for you to show up for that guy that you necessarily want to be in a relationship with. So I think from guys, what they're saying is the way that y'all are showing up, it's not giving love and respect. It's not giving like. I think there are some women who have the potential, the capability. You hear oftentimes women will say the right man comes along. It's almost like you got to be the guy who can pull the sword out of the rock to get that. So I think in general, it's not showing up that way. But I think at the heart of it, yeah, Black women do love sometimes like, and depending on the nigga, respect them, right? I think,
Okay.
right?
We can go with that.
I can co-sign on that.
Right?
Okay, we can agree on that. Sometimes you said sometimes like,
yeah,
and with the right guy may respect.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay.
Maybe respect, but will respect.
Because first of all, respect to me is very interesting because some people just think you just give people respect. Some people think you have to earn respect to a certain extent. I think there's a certain level of respect where it's like, I respect you as a human being, but do I respect you as my man or as my woman? Do I respect you as a person I'm willing to follow? And I think legitimately, and I hate to say this, that Black women have some legit reasons to feel like I have some questions, right? And I think, and now that I think about it, wow, I'm about to do a whole about face for a second, right? Because I'm wondering if Black men are hearing this the same way Black women hear the criticism that we have for them. Right? So if they're saying, hey, sir, in order for me to respect you as a leader, you have to lead. And we're saying, why are you bashing all Black men? Right? Right? Is it fair for her to say, if I am going to lay down my autonomy and my whatever to you, that I have to have a certain level of regard, and that a lot of the ways that men are showing up, I don't have that regard for. So that's why I said initially, I think most women probably are built to love Black men, I think, just based off historically. But I think they've been conditioned to require for Black men to show up a certain type of way for them to gain the respect part, right? And honestly, I don't think Black women like Black men like that, for real. I think that's where the truth of this conversation is on fire. Because the liking part is where you might go that extra mile. It brings that little extra smile, right? I think, so to your point, they may not like us. Right. They'll love us. They'll respect us, but they'll be liking us a lot sometimes, which is why we're going to get the head that we want. Either she'll like us or the act itself.
Right. Good point.
But if she really
But you know I like it, so you're right.
Yeah, so I think y'all with me on that one? What you think, Elsa?
So look, I'm just going to say this. I think that if we look at social media, so you asked if I had to put a number on it. Yes. So I would say that the conditioning is very strong, right? Because we've been conditioned to expect Black men to do a certain thing, act a certain way. And if we're constantly having the conversation about leadership and submission and so forth, then that lack of respect could come in play there if we feel like you don't have a mission, a vision, or can lead us in the right direction. Because I can follow you, but where the hell are you leading me to? Are you leading me off a cliff, off a wall? Are we about to have a car crash?
You was heading that way by yourself anyway, girl. Not you specifically, but the women saying this by yourself. You don't even like driving.
But that's even more reason why, if I don't like driving as a woman, as an example, then why am I going to get somebody else who don't like driving either, or supposed to be driving but don't know the direction that we need to go and not willing to ask for input for those directions to get us to where we need to go. And so that's where the disrespect may come in, because it's like, well, you do have to prove it to me, because it's no longer you get respect. It's basically you get respect to get respect. You give respect to get respect, get respect to get respect. And so I think that's part of the conversation there. But I also think that part of that conditioning is that, so you guys, and I will acknowledge this as much as I hate to admit it, you guys had a whole campaign against Black men for a long time pertaining to them being thugs, criminals, and so forth. And now that this all has been disproven through multiple studies, social media, and even presence, then it becomes, okay, well, how do we come back from that? How can we show respect outside of that realm, respecting you as individuals versus as a monolith, right? And so that's where that conversation comes in with that conditioning as well. So we're just now moving to the part where we're no longer looking at you guys under this imagery, but perhaps looking at you under this other imagery. So yes, I will say that sometimes we just don't like y'all.
Yeah, I agree with that part. I think that's what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, we were that.
As far as I like the part.
I think S&M is completely on point with that. I think that there's this breakup or whatever between the identity that Black men have had for so long, and there are men who are showing up, but as S&M was saying, the monolithic shift in the way Black men are viewed hasn't happened yet. So each Black men are not loved just because they're Black men.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, because they're Black men, they're giving the opportunity that you can apply for this thing or whatever, but you still have to be I would hope, a certain level of black man, right, to entice a woman, and then you get to whatever you want to get to. I think that's what S&M is saying. But as a whole, through this thug culture and all these other things, yeah, our stock has fallen. And there's a lot to not love about the way we've shown up publicly over the last 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, no, sorry, because this black woman who loves me was actually reaching out to make sure she's good. No, I'm just kidding. No, but like, I mean, honestly, I think, I don't know, like for me, I think I have a baseline of respect for people. I think most people probably operate with like, okay, as a stranger, I respect you as a human being, right? And there's like different gradients of how you might want to respect a person a little bit more. Like you may not have the same regard for a stranger that you might have for your significant other, a boss at work or whatever. So I think there's just different levels of respect. So I'm just going to say, I think as human beings, we can have a certain baseline level of respect, but some of the conversations that we're having, or at least we're hearing in the public space, sounds disrespectful. And it shows a certain lack of regard. You mentioned respect is double. Some people ain't even showing the first level, right? And I just think it's not that hard to show a certain level of regard. Like, even if I'm not into, let's say, this group of women, I can still respect them, right? And I think the problem, though, with the culture is that it's so much easier to just disrespect people unnecessarily, right? We don't have to just respect them. So for me, I do think we are being conditioned to have a lack of respect for each other, but I still want to hold firm and believe in my black women out there that they do still respect us at a core level, right? But I think they don't like us a lot sometimes, and you got to work to get the love.